David, thanks for having a bit of a chat today. I wanted to get your thoughts on a topic that has come up a few times in conversations with my clients recently. It's about how to convert more opportunities in the short and the long term, as I find it there's plenty of work being done to generate interest, generate inquiries, but we know that very few say yes. There's only a very small percentage say yes. So what's your take on how we can sort of maximize or not lose out on those opportunities?
Yeah, great question, Andrew. Look, there's probably a couple of things. Look, the first thing is that when people haven't done a lot of marketing, right, they're used to getting leads through either word of mouth or referral. Now, if someone comes to you through word of mouth or referral, generally they're pre-sold, which means there's not a lot of sales activity required. It's literally, hey, Andrew, I've been told you do a great job doing copywriting. Can you help me? So you just need to then ask some questions, clarify what they want, give them a quote, and then they buy. So as soon as we go to marketing, we sort of change that dynamic a lot, okay? Because we're going out into a marketplace through some sort of advertising, or it might be through email or lead nurture. And we're asking people, or we're telling people, this is what we do and this is how we can help. And when we engage people, what we're looking for is people to stick their hand up, yeah? And when they stick their hand up, they can stick their hand up for a couple of reasons. One might be that you have some sort of lead magnet, right? Like free download or free this or whatever the thing might be. Well, the other one is that you qualify really hard and you say, look, if you're struggling with your copywriting or if you're struggling with your advertising not converting, we can help you improve your conversion. And that it could be your pitch. Now, I don't know what your clients have got, but you know, it's something we could talk about specifically if you had specific case studies, or we could do it in a live shot. But the thing for me is that often when leads come in, we need to qualify how quickly they want to move. And if they're not ready to move, we need to then put them into some sort of nurture. Okay. Now, nurture is usually, as as basically is what you do. It's keeping in touch with people over a longer period of time because of two reasons. Number one is they weren't ready to buy at that moment in time when they made the inquiry. They were just, checking you out, right? And if we don't have a method for keeping in touch with people, what ends up happening is we try and close a deal prematurely. And sometimes you can burn the lead, right? Because if you pressure someone too hard, they feel like you're chasing them, they lose interest, okay?
Yes.
And so it's a sort of fine line. Where do I stop chasing someone, and when do I, and how do I keep in touch with people if I don't want to harass them, right?
Yes, definitely.
So the short answer is to give them all the information they need to make a decision. Make sure that you've identified the issues that you can correct. And usually when people don't buy from you in that sales transaction, it comes down to trust, right? Sounds great, Andrew, but I just need to sleep on it, or I just need to check with my partner. And you hear all the objections, the excuses. Now, a lot of the time you can try and beat those through sales tactics, but the reality is they don't trust you yet. And trust is built over time, okay? So when we put them into our nurture sequence and we start sending videos or blogs or whatever it might be, we're building trust over a period of time. And when they get to a point where the trust is higher than the problem, then they're ready to go, okay? So in old selling mechanisms, it was all about being really good at closing sales. My suggestion is that you need to become really good at qualifying people on the way through your funnel. And then you need to have a really good follow-up process after the sales call. Because even if they say, I'm not ready, the trick is to keep them engaged, okay? And so I get you're not ready. So you need to learn a bit more about us to build a trust relationship so that you do proceed. Does that make sense?
It does. And it sort of mirrors some great advice that I received this week actually about great sales. And great sales in my experience being sold to was simply one small thing followed by another small thing. And they can be little, but they can make a big impact. And that's how I felt trust. Have you sort of found that too? Is it simply just by saying, look, I'll help you in this situation and you'll get to know who I am? And
see, when people ask me what's the best way to build trust, the short answer is make and keep small agreements. Okay. So if I talk to you today and you're not ready to buy and I say, no worries, Andrew, let me send you some information, you'll get it in the next 10 minutes. If that email is in your inbox within 10 minutes, you're saying, oh, David said something and then it happened. So in your mind, you're going, he's a man of his word. Now, it's a very simplified version, but if we keep producing things as we promise them and produce them, promise them and produce them, the trust goes up really quickly. So I often suggest to people that you need to have multiple steps in your selling process, because if someone's ready to buy, you can bypass all those steps and go straight to the order. But if they're not ready to buy, they're literally starting a conversation. And what they're not telling you is, Andrew, I like what you offer, but I'm not sure that your thing will fix my problem. And so they're not going to say that, right? They sort of just sit there and they expect you to do your sales pitch. And so in between the lines, it's about reading about, well, how do I build trust with this person at the right pace for where they're at right now?
I think it's such an interesting topic, and it's something that seems to always, it's an evergreen topic, because you can always get better at this. And what I'd love to do is explore this a little bit further before the end of the year, if you'd be open to that. And if people watching this, if you're interested, let's continue this conversation. Let's learn together how we can get better at building those relationships.
Well, what I think the best thing to do would be, Andrew, if you've got some clients that have specific conversion issues, right, what I could do is I can dissect them, okay?
Great.
Because for me, sales process is a critical element of any business. It's not about being hard sell. It's about understanding the journey that people are going through and meeting them where they're at. And what are the things that I can use to do that? Because it can be a combination of video, it can be a combination of email, it can be social posts. There's a whole lot of different things, but if we have specific cases that we can go through, I'm happy to map out sales process with people, give them an understanding of the elements they could add in there to actually improve their conversion.
Fantastic. Let's do it. Well, I'll go away. I'll have some conversations, and we'll come back and we'll have to take this a bit further. So thanks, Dave. Great to catch up again.
Yeah, no problem.